is there a God? Just, is there a God? So will you think about that a little yourself? Is there a God? I'll tell you that one of my problems was I continually answered another question, even though I kept saying that I was answering the question, is there a God? I kept actually trying to answer other questions. And you might like to know some of those other questions that even our professors at school and our teachers answer, and they claim to be answering the question, is there a God? First one I had trouble with was the people, liberal theologians often, who said, what does it matter? What does it matter whether there is or is not? If it gives old ladies and poor psychological cripples some comfort, what does it matter whether there's a God or not? Well, I think there are many old ladies who feel the same way as I do, who do not want to live an illusion. We don't. We are not such cripples that we need an illusion or a lie of which we are willing to be the deceived victims. So we don't want a God that is just an illusion. And often when I heard people asking the question, is there a God, I often thought, they're saying, is there some great authoritative other that will give poor souls some encouragement in their life? That's not the question, loved ones. That's not the question at all. The question is there a God? Is there a supreme being? I think some of us maybe don't have trouble with that misconception, but we have trouble with another one. We say, you mean, is there a miserable, gloomy, old gentleman living in heaven somewhere who tells us not to go to the theater, not to dance, not to smoke, and he looks down, and if he sees any of us enjoying himself at all, he yells, cut it out. And I found that was the question I was trying to answer. I was giving the name God to all the distorted, depressing misconceptions of him that I had accumulated during the past years. And I was saying, does such a morbid old being exist? Now, loved ones, that's not the question we're asking. That is an emotional question. But the intellectual question we're asking is there a supreme being who is greater than all of us here and who is responsible for putting us all here? Some of you may wonder, why do some of the greatest minds in our world not believe in God? Well, because of this third misconception. A lot of us think we're asking not the question, is there a God, but is there a being that I must obey? And of course we don't want to have anybody that we have to obey, so we answer no. That's what causes many of the most intelligent men and women in our world to deny the existence of God. It's amazing, but they do. They deny the existence of God not on intellectual reasons at all, but because they know the consequences that would follow once they admit that there's a God. And the consequences are that they would have to obey that God.